Hey everybody, welcome back. James here again with you. And in this video, I want to give you a little tip on your point of impact shifting if you have that problem. A lot of people do with air guns, and this is my Air Venturi Avenger, brand new. I got it over Memorial Day weekend, and I have been shooting it, and I figured out with this gun and my others as to why you have a shift downrange. Now, with that considered, with the way the wind blows today, we'll see I should have just a minimal shift, very minimal, compared to yesterday's shooting with this. And I'm using the FX 34 grain pellets again, and I got the Discovery 5 to 25 scope on there. So I'm going to get set up here on the bench at 50 yards to see if there's a huge difference from day to day here. And I've studied this in the past, and I've only found that there's going to be just a slight vertical shifting throughout the whole day. I've tested it. But let's just see if this is the right pellet here in this gun. It should be very, and I mean very minimal. You should not even really barely notice it. And that's how it is when you're shooting, even in wind. You should only notice just a very slight vertical shift, and that is it. There shouldn't be no major shifting for inches, left or right, up or down, especially at 50 yards. And anything closer than that, there shouldn't be a big, significant shift at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up here, and I'm going to shoot, I'm going to get this aired up and shoot about 5 shots through it. And let's see. This is set at 2400 PSI on the regulator and about 2 turns on the hammer spring. Didn't touch it. This is still out of the box, guys. Just put the scope on and the bipod. I'm twitching it just a hair to the left because I didn't get my bag set up just right, but as a little just test here to see how far off it is, the pellets are going exactly where I'm aiming at on target, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm right there. There's hardly no POI shift at all with this setup. And again, the gun was twitching when I was holding it down there. I wasn't really trying to be the most accurate as possible. I just wanted to see if the pellet was landing in the general area where my reticle is at, and down there it is. Like I said, my reticle is twitching a hair left when I pulled the trigger. Let's go down there. Brand new 25 cal Avenger camo limited edition stock from Pyramid Air, 34 grain FX pellets. "50 yards. Camera's rolling down here. And that's where they were impacting. Like I said, my reticle is just twitching just a hair left every time I pull the trigger, and it's still within this spot. And that's after a fresh fill. Woo! Alright, just to show you, I put a new target up down at 50 yards. I'm going to hold the gun a little different here, more careful than I was earlier. I'm going to aim at the same exact spot on target. And I got my scope bubble level here. Make sure. Here we go. I think I loaded 6. That's 5 down there. I'll take it. Exactly where I was holding and aiming the scope reticle. Like I said earlier, it was just twitching just a hair to the left. I watched it as I was pulling the trigger. Woo! That is on. Let's go down there and check it out. A little windy today, but it ain't too bad. 34 grain pellets again. Same thing. Same settings of the scope. 2400 regulator pressure. The hammer springs, I think, set about 2 turns on the hammer springs. What it was at. I never touched it. All right, and I'm still hitting my target, guys. No major POI shifting. Here's the camera. Here's the target, 50 yards. I was aiming right there, and that's where it hit. Cha-ching! Yeah, baby. Woo! Okay, so I'm back here with the target, and as you could see, this is a 10-shot groups I shot yesterday. So this is Wednesday. And here's the 2 5-shot groups I just shot for you. So this one, I flitched it a little bit to the left. I watched the reticle as I pulled the trigger, and that's a nice tight group, 5 shots. I think 3/8 of an inch I measured. And this one was dead center because I made sure to hold on the gun. I was watching it. This gun, yeah, it could be kind of hold sensitive. The hammer spring, again, is not set up very high. But with it being so strong in these guns, and a lot of people brought that up and asked, if I'm figured out what's wrong. Yes, the gun, these new guns come with a heavier hammer spring. If you watch my past videos, it really messes up a lot of things because you can pretty much only shoot heavy stuff. That's what sucks about it. Yeah, you could shoot the lighter stuff, but you're not going to get superb accuracy, and you're going to beat the hell out of your gun. Ask me how I know that. But anyway, so as you could see here, yesterday, the wind wasn't blowing from the north-northwest, and the wind was blowing today this way at me. Well, if you look at a spin drift chart, you can see that it should move the impact just slightly down, which it did. I was aiming dead center yesterday. That one, the gun was just twitching to the right. So that's another thing. It could be you. You have to hold the gun and shoot it steady as possible. I like bags over bipods personally. I do the best with bags. So, again, it could be a couple variations of a few things, but mainly what it comes down to is the pellet, guys. That's what it is. Now, I can't sit here and tell you exactly which pellet goes to which gun because everybody lives in a different location. I'm not going to do that. What I can say is my gun, the way it's set up, out of the box, 34 grain FX pellets are the ones. And this just justifies it. Day to day, the way the POI shifted here. And again, I twitched these groups. I did that on purpose just to see and watch the reticle because I could watch the pellet in flight with my naked eye. Again, according to a spin drift chart, your projectile should only move up and down vertically if, and a big if, you are shooting the right projectile. I cannot stress that enough. What I mean by that is if the pellet is perfect for it. And the only way to know that is if it consistently groups well and you only have to adjust up and down. That's it. Holdover. That's all you have to adjust, even in the wind. I know that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but that's just how it is. And you can see here what I did. So, again, it comes down to the pellet, guys. And that's what it is. If you're not shooting a light enough pellet or a heavier pellet, that's what you have to figure out, unfortunately, per caliber, per gun. And that's the testing that they don't tell you have to do to figure out your POI shift. And I literally, no joking, I cannot make this stuff up to you guys, handpicked those pellets for this gun because I already knew what Air Venturi did, and they updated the springs in them. And again, like I said earlier, they're made to only shoot heavy stuff with the way the hammer spring is in them now. Back then, when they first released them, they were not. There was a different spring in the guns. You could shoot lighter stuff and be pretty accurate, which I was until my spring broke. So I hope you guys got something from this video, and I hope you could see here as to what I'm talking about with my target and showing data day to day about it. And again, if there is a major change in the weather, which there was not, that could be an instance too. And another thing, if you haven't seen my shifting issue, it could be your scope. If there is a big temperature change day to day from a 30 to 40 degree difference, it can raise your reticle or lower it inside the scope body. So anyways, I appreciate you watching as always. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thanks again.